See this rat? Believe it or not, but this rat holds the key to being a successful and profitable Forex trader. I'll tell you why in a minute. But first, let me ask you a question. Are you trading Forex to make money or to lose money? Now, I know that sounds like a stupid question, but it's a fair one. You see, 9 out of 10 Forex day traders consistently lose money when they trade. Sure, they'll have a winning day or even a winning week from time to time. But inevitably, they watch their account balances continue to shrink until there isn't enough money left to fund even a single micro-lot trade. Now, odds are really good this has happened to you at least once or maybe even twice in your trading career, or maybe more often. But guess what? It's really not your fault you keep losing. And no, I'm not saying that to try and trick you or blow smoke up certain places. In fact, you can honestly say that losing is embedded in your DNA. Now, I'll explain how in a minute. But the good news is that unlike most DNA issues, you have the power and ability to reprogram yourself to break free from the losing habits you've developed or inherited and start making winning Forex trades like a pro. And the better news is all you need to do to accomplish this switch from chronic losing to consistent winning is just make a couple of small tweaks to your trading. And literally within minutes of putting these tweaks into action, you could find yourself in your first winning trade. But to make these changes will require you to swim against the tide, break free of the herd, and forget of all that conventional wisdom about trading that you've picked up along the way. And I'll be rudely honest with you, it's harder than it sounds. But the reward is so great that it's worth the effort you put into it. How do I know all this? My name's Jeff Glenellis, and I've been trading Forex since 2005. I've written a couple of books on the subject that became Amazon bestsellers on their release, and since 2009 I've been teaching Forex traders how to swim against the tide and trade Forex using Renko charting system. Now by now you've probably heard about Renko. But back in 2009, I was pretty much the lone voice crying in the wilderness, shunned by the traditional traders who swore that only time-based charts would work when trading currencies. Well, most of those traders are long gone. I'm still here. That alone should convince you that taking the road less traveled in Forex is where the money is found. But I couldn't fault those other traders who mocked me back in the early days. They were as much a slave to their own DNA as anyone else. Here's what I mean by that. The human animal is basically a herd beast. That means we're genetically programmed to run in packs. But instead of being strong carnivorous wolves, we mostly tend to be mild sheep. In fact, most major literature, from the Bible on down, constantly refer to people as sheep. And those references are sadly correct. Sheep are fearful animals. They panic over the least little thing. If one sheep starts running, the rest of the flock follows, even though none of them have a single clue why the original sheep started running to begin with. Now, as herd animals, we will go out of our way to avoid angering the herd for fear of being thrown out. Now, you don't think so? Well, think back to your high school experience. Hell, think back to everyone's high school experience. We all wanted to be accepted. We all wanted to be part of the in crowd. Well, that's herd-oriented DNA at work right there. That's why when the herd says turn right, we turn right, even when we know in our hearts that turning left is the correct answer. So, looking at an example from the trading standpoint, when the herd tells us we should only be using a 5-minute chart, we put up a 5-minute chart. If the herd tells us only to trade the major pairs, we put up the euro dollar and the dollar yen and never look at other charts that might be far more profitable for us to trade. If the herd tells us to never trade without the MACD, or the RSI, or a stochastic, or Fibonacci lines, or fill in the blank here with whatever the hot indicator of the moment happens to be, all our charts end up looking like everyone else's. And what is the end result? Well, the herd ends up losing money over time. And as a card-carrying member, you lose your money right along with them. What do you do then? Well, if you're like 99% of traders, you go back to the herd and look for more, but maybe slightly different answers and advice. How many times have you scoured YouTube or Forex Factory looking for something, anything that will put you on the winning track. Probably more often than you'd like to admit. But again, that's your DNA at work. Do you remember that picture of the rat I showed you at the beginning? I told you that rat held the key to your being a winning Forex trader. Well, here's how. Several years ago, a group of behavioral scientists conducted an experiment on how rats learned life lessons. They put 24 rats in a cage with a ramp built in that led to a device that delivered food on demand. These rats had been trained to use the device whenever they were hungry, so seeing at the top of the ramp told them that they had a readily available food source whenever they were hungry. But the scientists played a trick on the rats. The docs installed a metal plate at the top of the ramp that delivered a small electric shock whenever a rat touched it. Now, over the next week or so, all of the rats made multiple trips up the ramp to get food, but ended up getting shocked instead. At the end of the week, none of the rats would walk up the ramp, even with the food placed at the top to entice them. Now next, the scientists took out half of the original rats and replaced them with new rats who were also familiar with the food device. But they also removed that plate that delivered the electrical shock. That's when something strange began to happen. As the newer rats tried to walk up the ramp to access the food device, the older rats attacked them and dragged them off the ramp before they could get shocked. And that's even though the shock device was already long gone. Now this continued for the remainder of the week until the newer rats had all been trained by the older rats to avoid the ramp. Now, scientists took out the rest of the original rats and replaced them with a new batch. And when that new batch attempted to walk up the ramp, they were also attacked by the older rats and dragged away, and this continued until none of the newest rats would even approach the ramp. Now, do you see why this is so amazing and also so applicable to traders searching for answers? In that last batch of rats in the cage, not a single one of them had ever experienced the electrical shock when trying to get food. All of the original 24 rats had been removed by that time, and the older rats that remained in the cage were merely passing on knowledge to the younger rats, teaching them to avoid a shock that was no longer there and which they themselves had never personally experienced. Now, can you see how this applies to the conventional wisdom that's passed along in trading? Someone a long time ago declared that the only surefire road to profiting from trading the markets was to use a collection of charts, or to only use a MACD, or to use several MACDs with different settings, or whatever the advice might happen to be. And that advice was eventually turned into holy trading canon and is still passed down from one trading generation to another as if it originated with God himself. The only problem is, it's not accurate. And how do I know this? Well, consider this. 90% of all Forex traders rely exclusively upon conventional wisdom to guide their trading. And 90% of all Forex traders eventually lose all their money. Do you think there might be a connection there? Warren Buffett really summed it up best when he said that the time to buy stocks is when there is blood in the streets, even if it's your own blood. And when there is blood in the streets, where are the vast majority of the sheep? Traders. They're panic selling, getting out of their positions at any price in the hope that they can salvage at least a small amount of their starting capital. That's what the herd does. It panics and runs. Now, smart traders who have walked away from and burned their lifetime membership card in the herd are the ones who are sitting quietly off to the side, eager to start buying when sellers reach a point of peak frenzy in selling. When the herd zigs, smart traders zag. Now, I mentioned to you earlier that it isn't your fault that you've been running with the trading herd. Not only is it in your very nature, it's probably all you were ever taught to do. And you were taught by people who didn't know any better themselves. So it really is not your fault. But now that you know there is a problem, and you're about to learn how to fix that problem once and for all, if you decide to stay with the herd after this, consistent losing will be your fault from here on out. But you know what? If that's a decision you make, then that's okay. If you can live with that decision, so can I. Do you know why? Because of this incredibly painful fact about trading that most people never consider. Trading is a zero-sum game. That means when someone makes money on a trade, someone else loses. You don't get a participation trophy just for showing up. As for those of us who win most of our trades, Well, we need people on the other side, donating their accounts to the cause. So you can choose to join the winners class, or you can remain in what we call the donor class, giving your money away to traders who ignore the herd and go their own way. So the time to decide is now, right now, to either stay with the safety of the herd and likely end up watching all your trading capital disappear, or leaving the herd behind and forging your own path to profitable trading. Are you ready to say goodbye to the herd? Good. This is what you need to do to make it happen. In all the years I've been training Forex traders, I've consistently maintained my students' focus on the only three things that they need to be a successful trader. Now let me share with you right now what those three things are, and then I'm going to tell you about a fourth that I've actually recently added to the list. First, you need to use a charting system that only worries about price action and ignores the concept of time. That's the beauty of Renko charts. Price action is the only consideration. No more getting faked out by indicator-based signals that go both ways because price is trapped inside of a tight range, but the time-based charts keep minting new candles and forcing the indicators to keep adjusting. Price action indicator adjustments are the purest you will ever find, and those are found exclusively on Renko charts. Now next, you need a way to determine the current trend so you don't end up trading in the wrong direction. The Renko trend indicator was designed to do exactly that, alert you to the price points where the buy trend collapses and turns into a sell trend, or vice versa. In 15 years of trading, I've never seen or even heard of an indicator that does a better job of spotting trend changes as early as the Renko trend indicator. And finally, you need a way to get into trades early and get out at the first sign of trouble. This is how you maximize profits and you minimize losses on each and every trade that you take. And the Renko signal does just that. It hugs price action so that once a change in direction takes place, it gives you the signal to either get in or get out. And for years, I've taught my students that those were the only tools that you needed to be a profitable trader. But about a year ago, I found a fourth tool, if you will, that all but guarantees your success as a Forex trader. What is that tool? CFDs. Now, if you've never heard of CFDs before, don't worry. CFDs are charts that trade exactly like currency pairs, but with a couple of important differences, and I'll explain those differences in a minute. For now, all you need to know is that index CFDs are the Forex version of charts for like the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, and the Dow, which is in the USA, the DAX, out of Germany, the Nikkei, which is out of Japan, and several other indexes from other countries like Australia, France, UK, etc. CFDs can also include energies like oil and natural gas, metals like gold, silver, and platinum, and with some brokers you can even trade on the price direction for individual stocks. Now, unlike currency pairs where the value of one currency is measured against the value of the other, you are only trading based on whether you think the index is going to go up or down in price. And because each index is actually traded through a live market that is only open a few hours a day, you know exactly when each index will likely get hot, and volume and volatility are likely to go up exponentially over the times when the index market is closed. For instance, the S&P 500 index is traded in an open market from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. Now, you can still trade the S&P in the off hours, just like you can with currency pairs. But for those few hours a day when the actual market is open, your chances of catching some nice price runs, which translate into the equivalent of 100 pip moves or more, they go up about tenfold. And with different indexes located in different countries around the world, there is always another market getting ready to open for trading. This means that no matter where you're located, there is an index you can trade that will accommodate the hours you have available to trade. You work 8 to 5? No problem. There'll be indexes that open in the evening hours. You work nights? Again, no problem. You'll likely find at least one index that opens for business at a time when you're available to trade in the morning or afternoon. And because you can now access CFD trades through multiple Forex brokers, including several that accept US-based clients, you can take advantage of the leverage they offer and be up and running for as little as $100. And all you need to profit consistently from these charts is what I mentioned earlier. A charting method that makes sense when tracking price action, a reliable way to determine the current trend, and a way to get into trades early and get out of trades at the first sign of trouble. In other words, you need the Renko Enhanced Trading Package. Now take a look at this chart. Do you see how simple this is? This is a NAS 100 chart, which is the Forex version of NASDAQ. Each of those boxes is worth $2 when trading a micro lot. And if you trade a mini lot, the boxes are worth $20. Renko Enhanced uses three separate indicators: the Renko Trend, Renko Signal, and the Chop Alert. Renko Trend indicator tells us when the trend is up or down. Renko Signal gives us entry and exit signals, and Chop Alert warns us when price has moved into an area where there is an increased likelihood of price ranging tightly. And this is all you really need. If the trend is up, wait for a buy signal from the Renko Signal. When you get a signal, glance at the Chop Alert to see if price is in a danger zone. If price isn't in a Chop Alert danger zone, take the trade and hold it until Renko Signal gives you the exit signal. You don't need to worry about anything else, or worry about the fact that you don't know every little thing about the index or whatever CFD it is you're trading. You already know price either moves up or down. There ain't no third option. That is truly all you need to know. Of course, it's always wise to look at an economic calendar to see if there's any news events scheduled that might have some impact on whatever it is you're trading. But you don't need to interpret the report or even guess at the resulting outcome. Just trade in the direction of the Renko Trend indicator. Get in and out of trades when you get the signal from the Renko Signal indicator. It really is that simple. Traders put a lot of time and effort in trying to predict in advance whether the overall trend for the various indexes will be up or down. I could not care less. I only care about whether the trend right now is up or down, and I trade accordingly. That trend direction can change multiple times in the 2 hours after the markets open. I don't care. I let the other guys sweat out whether their guess was right or wrong. I just take trades in the direction of the current trend. Now, if you can follow those same simple rules I just outlined, you too can be making the same trades 20 minutes from now. If you want to see more proof of CFD charts using Renko Enhanced, just look at the page below this video. And if you're watching this video on YouTube, the link to that page is in the description. I've included screenshots from oil, S&P, and NASDAQ for the first 7 days of trading in January to give you an idea of what your trading day will look like once you jump on board with us. Now look, I realize the world of Forex related products is filled with hype, hot air, and a lot of other nonsense, to the point you are absolutely justified in not trusting anything that anyone says about any product sold in Forex. But tell me this, do you know of any currency pairs that get hot at the same time every day, 5 days a week, every week of the year, that give you the chance to make more pips in a single move than you would make all week trading a standard currency chart, to let you get into a trade for the same few dollars you would need to open a currency trade, and maybe most importantly, where the price action is controlled by the actual market and not by the brokers and liquidity pool investors. If you trade the indexes, oil, gold, silver, or any other vehicle that is traded inside an actual market, then you have at least some protection from your broker or liquidity pool provider monkeying around with the prices to rip off their own customers. That danger is always present when you trade currency pairs, and it doesn't matter how old or respected your broker might be. With CFDs, the markets control the price. You just go along for the ride. Are you ready to take that ride? Then grab a copy of the Renko Enhanced package while one is still available. Because I'm only going to release 100 packages to the general public at this time. I want to make certain that we don't create a stampede into just 1 or 2 brokers and overwhelm the charts with one-way trades. Because if that happens, the brokers will drop CFDs like a hot rock, and we'll be back to trying to scrape out winning trades from the same unpredictable currency pair charts that are causing us so much grief to begin with. Forex broker CFDs are a relatively new offering, and the daily volume on these charts is just a fraction of what the typical major currency pairs see each day. So I want to be careful and make sure I don't send in too many specially trained ninja sniper traders to destroy the charts and put us all out of business. So 100 packages is the limit for now. I will probably release another 100 packages at a later date, but I don't know right now exactly when that will happen. So if the buy now button is still at the bottom of this page, you need to take fast action. And if you are one of the fast action takers, here's what you get in the Renko Enhanced package. You get the Renko indicator, which will create a live working Renko chart on your MT4 platform, along with the Renko Trend and the Renko Signal indicators. And if that was all I included for you in this package, it would be worth every penny of the purchase price. But I want to make this package so incredibly attractive and valuable to you, I decided to skip with all that upsell nonsense, and I've included all of these extras as bonuses to this package. Now, bonus number one, you're also going to get a copy of the Rinko Chop Indicator. It was created specifically for Rinko charts, and Chop Alert does exactly what the name implies. It alerts you anytime price enters into a range of prices where you might expect sudden sharp and short price reversals, or chop. Chop Alert is designed like a stoplight. Green means go ahead, no danger expected. Yellow means proceed with caution, which means you can still take or remain in a trade, but be ready to get out if price action continues to move against you. And finally, red means stop, which in this case either means get out or stay out of the trade until you get either a green or a yellow line segment. Chop Alert is not a signal indicator, and you'll notice that the best trading conditions in both directions occur when the Chop Alert line is below the 50 marker. So use Chop Alert only with Rinko charts and only as a confirmation tool, not as a signal source. The value of the Chop Alert is $97. Now, bonus number two, you get my Trading Between the Lines masterclass on using advanced support and resistance lines to find those sweet spots on the charts where you can make easy pips. Now, most traders are aware of pivot lines and S1, S2, S3, and R1, R2, and R3 lines. But did you know there's also a weekly pivot and S1 through S3 and R1 through R3 lines, along with a variety of moving averages and Fibonacci-based lines spread out over multiple time frame charts, which can also come into play? In all, there are more than 80 separate lines that you should be aware of before you ever take that first trade. Knowing about the presence of these lines can mean the difference between exiting a trade in profit and riding it all the way back down into a loss. It can also keep you from entering too early and sitting upside down in a trade for an extended amount of time, which causes the typical trader to exit with a loss, only to watch price move back into profit after the trade is already closed. You get not only 2 hours of video training on how to use these lines, but we've also included a set of indicators and templates that allow you to have all your charts up and running in just a minute or two. And imagine how long it would take otherwise to set up 80 plus lines manually each day. Now, the value of the Trading Between the Lines Masterclass is $147, and we sell it every day on the website at that price. Bonus number three is you also get full access to Forex Autoscaler, the trade management EA that allows you to turn a 20 pip winning trade into 50 pips or more by scaling in additional trades as price continues to move in your favor. Autoscaler has consistently been one of the best-selling Forex trade management EAs on JVZoo since it debuted back in 2011, and traders around the globe swear by its ease and simplicity in setting up additional trades with the push of a single button. With some of these CFD products, particularly the NAS 100, consistently putting up 20 and 30 full-point moves, it won't be long before you start adding Autoscaler to your chart and turn those 20 and 30 pip winners into 50 and 200 pip gains. And the value of Autoscaler is $179, and again, we sell that every day on the website at that price. And bonus number four is you're going to get a full month's access to my live trading room, which we open and run from 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. We focus on trading oil, the S&P chart, and the NASDAQ chart. If you have any questions or do you want to run some trading ideas past me or the other full-time members of the room, go right ahead. We're there to help and to make pips. And should you have any technical problems that need my personal attention, I make myself available before the room opens and after the room closes by TeamViewer to help make sure you are up and running as quickly and efficiently as possible. And the value of a month's subscription to the trade room is $200. So when you take it all together, the value of the bonuses alone, with Chop Alert being $97, the Trading Between the Lines class $147, Forex Autoscaler at $179, and a month of the access to the trade room at $200, the grand total is $623. That's just for the bonuses alone. But you get Rinko Enhanced plus all the bonuses for a one-time price of just $297. And even if you're only trading micro lots, you could easily make back this purchase price in just a few days of trading. Many lot and full lot traders could get this back in a single trading session. So there really isn't any good reason for you not to click the Buy Now button below and pick up your own copy of Rinko Enhanced before we hit our limit of 100 packages sold. Unless, of course, you just secretly hate money or you actually enjoy losing your Forex trades. Now, we both know that isn't the truth. You want to win trades. You want to start living that trader lifestyle where your time is your own to spend however you desire. You want the prestige that goes along with being a winning trader, where your friends and neighbors are all secretly jealous of you for making more in a day than they make in a week or a month and still have all that free time. No more slogging through spirit-killing traffic jams to get to a job you hate so that you can make enough money to buy the things that you really can't afford just to impress people you don't like. You get into trades, you make some profit, and you call it a day. Do that often enough, and there isn't anything you can't afford to do. Now, the Bible says that the love of money is the root of all evil. That may or may not be true. But I know for a fact that having money will solve every single problem in your life that was created by not having money. Now, this is your chance to put yourself in a position where you can start solving those money issues once and for all. But only 100 people are going to have that chance, for now anyway. If you want to be one of them, click the Buy Now button below. But before I go, let me share one last thing with you. One of my students who uses the NinjaTrader platform in a futures account sent me a really nice email after he started using Rinko Enhanced. He had been a little cautious about buying the package, and we spent about 3 days going back and forth by email, me answering all the questions he had about Rinko and about the trading method, and at the end of the 3 days, he finally made the purchase. This is what he had to say about it. Jeff, thanks for taking the time to speak with me last week about your NinjaTrader Rinko Enhanced trading method. Sorry I had so many questions, but I've been burned before, and I wanted to make sure I understood exactly what it was I was buying before I took the plunge. As you know, I bought on Thursday, September 27th, after pestering you for 3 straight days with questions. I went back and looked at the charts for the 3 days before I bought, which would be the 24th to the 26th, and I figured out that my stupid questions cost me about 30 points per day spread out between oil, S&P E-mini, and NASDAQ E-mini. Now, to put it in dollars and cents, it cost me about $3,000 over 3 days of missed trades due to being hesitant to pull the trigger on a lousy $297 purchase. I promise that won't happen again. Please keep me advised if you put out any add-ons or enhancements to this amazing trading method. I'll be first in line to buy them. Thanks again for such a wonderful buying experience. Richard, last name's been redacted. Now, Richard blinked when it came time to click on the Buy Now button, and it cost him a small fortune. Don't be like Richard. Click the Buy Now button. Let's get started.